On March 14, 1879, in the small German town of Ulm, a baby boy was born to Hermann and Pauline Einstein. They named him Albert. From the very start, Albert was different from other children. He rarely spoke in his early years, worrying his parents. Some even thought he might have a learning disability. But Albert wasn't slow. He was simply thinking. He observed everything around him with deep curiosity. His mother, a talented pianist, introduced him to music, while his father, an engineer, encouraged his love for mechanical objects. At the age of 5, Albert's father gave him a small compass. As he held it in his tiny hands, he became fascinated. No matter how he turned it, the needle always pointed in the same direction. What makes it move? He wondered. This was his first encounter with the mysteries of physics. Mysteries he would one day solve. As Albert grew older, he became an independent thinker. He had little interest in school, where teachers focused on memorization rather than creativity. The strict German education system did not suit him. One day, a teacher scolded him for questioning too much. "Einstein, you will never amount to anything if you don't follow the rules." But Albert didn't care. He believed that true learning came from asking questions, not just repeating facts. His love for mathematics became clear when he was just 12 years old. He devoured books on algebra, geometry, and calculus. By the age of 14, he had already taught himself advanced mathematics. But despite his brilliance, Einstein struggled with discipline. His rebellious nature got him expelled from school. One headmaster even told him, "Your presence in the classroom is disruptive." Hurt but determined, Einstein set out on a new path. At 16, Albert Einstein applied to the Swiss Federal Polytechnic School in Zurich, one of Europe's top universities. But he failed the entrance exam, except for the math section, where he excelled. Instead of giving up, he worked hard and retook the exam a year later, this time passing. In 1896, he officially became a student at the Polytechnic, where he met Mileva Maric, a brilliant Serbian physics student. The two developed a close friendship, united by their love for science. However, Einstein's rebellious nature continued. He often skipped classes, preferring to study on his own. His professors found him difficult, but he didn't care. He was learning in his own way. In 1900, Albert graduated, but struggled to find a job. His unconventional thinking made it hard to impress employers. For 2 years, he worked as a private tutor, barely making ends meet. In 1902, Einstein finally found a job, not as a scientist, but as a patent examiner in Bern, Switzerland. He spent his days reviewing technical inventions, but his mind was always elsewhere. Late at night, he worked on physics problems, filling notebooks with calculations. He dreamed of uncovering the secrets of the universe. By this time, he had married Mileva Maric, and they had a son, Hans Albert. Life was difficult. But Einstein's passion for physics never faded. In 1905, something extraordinary happened. Despite having no university position, no research funding, and no laboratory, Einstein published 4 groundbreaking scientific papers in just 1 year. This became known as his Annus Mirabilis, Miracle Year. One of these papers introduced the world to the most famous equation in history. E equals mc squared. This simple yet powerful equation showed that energy and mass are interchangeable, laying the foundation for nuclear energy. Another paper explained the photoelectric effect, which later led to the development of solar panels and quantum physics. This discovery won him the Nobel Prize in 1921. Suddenly, Einstein, the struggling patent clerk, had become a rising star in the scientific community. As Einstein's reputation grew, universities began offering him positions. He became a professor in Germany, Prague, and Switzerland, giving lectures across Europe. In 1915, he presented his greatest work, the general theory of relativity. He proposed that gravity was not just a force, but a warping of space and time caused by massive objects like the sun. At first, many scientists doubted him. But in 1919, during a solar eclipse, British astronomer Sir Arthur Eddington proved Einstein's theory correct. The news spread across the world. Overnight, Albert Einstein became a global icon. People celebrated him not only as a scientist but as a symbol of genius. His wild, uncombed hair and deep eyes became legendary. By the 1930s, Nazi Germany was rising to power. Einstein, a Jew, faced increasing threats. In 1933, he left Germany forever, moving to the United States, where he took a position at Princeton University. As World War II approached, Einstein and other scientists feared that Nazi Germany was developing a nuclear weapon. In 1939, he signed a letter to U.S. President Franklin D. Roosevelt, warning about this danger. This letter led to the creation of the Manhattan Project, the secret program that developed the atomic bomb. But when the bomb was actually used in Hiroshima and Nagasaki in 1945, Einstein was deeply saddened. He spent his later years advocating for peace and nuclear disarmament. In his final years, Einstein continued working on a unified theory that could explain all forces of nature. Though he never completed it, his ideas paved the way for modern physics. He was offered the presidency of Israel in 1952, but declined, saying, "Politics is for the present, but an equation is for eternity." On April 18, 1955, at the age of 76, Albert Einstein passed away. His final words were spoken in German, but the nurse at his bedside did not understand them. Einstein's discoveries changed the world. His work led to modern physics, including quantum mechanics and black hole research, technologies like GPS, solar power, and nuclear energy. A revolution in how we understand time and space. Even today, scientists continue to build on his ideas. But perhaps Einstein's greatest lesson was not about science. It was about curiosity, imagination, and the courage to think differently. He once said, "Imagination is more important than knowledge. For knowledge is limited, but imagination encircles the world." And indeed, Albert Einstein's imagination changed the universe forever.